Hey, good evening. It's 8:10 p.m. It is May 18th. It's Thursday evening. Good evening and happy Thursday. Happy Thursday is kind of strange for most people, but I enjoy Thursdays probably more than any other day of the week. But anyway, today I was in my car on my lunch break. I was running some errands, and this stupid song came on. It's not stupid. It's silly because sometimes you link songs to things in the past. And just a few nights ago, I was thinking about this teacher that I used to have back in high school. He was this, I don't know, I think he was 40-something-year-old white dude. And he was funny. He was very funny. And he was kind of awkward, which made him likable. You know what I mean? What I mean by likable, no, not like you had a crush on him or anything, but likable in a friendly way. Like, you just enjoy this person being around because they are so relatable in so many ways. And so he was singing this song, that the song's called Word Up. I don't know. It was back in the 80s, and he knew he was looking like really stupid, goofy, you know what I mean? But anyway, so I always remembered that. So a few nights ago, I don't know why that popped in my mind, but today I was in the car, and that song popped up, and I just kind of had to laugh to myself, Anyway, memories, right? So I wanted to come on here and make this video, talk about, just whatever's on my mind. I don't have much means of communication, as we all know, and chances are I'm making a video that no one's going to watch because my videos have been like blocked. And I want to talk a little bit about that too. But anyway, I do want to express myself, definitely, especially towards the end of my years. Because it's an important thing for me. And I know that my channel has been blocked mainly because what I think of is mainly because of religious views that did not go over well with the peer group that I am associated with. I understand that there can be what I call an abuse of power, and I think in this case this is exactly what it is. I understand that there's a certain level of conduct that people expect, like maybe in a work environment or whatever, and you can tolerate so much, but when it kind of spills over into your personal life, like where you are limited in expressing yourself, which you have every right to, this is where I would consider it to be an abuse of power. I am not in any way a threat to anybody's religious views. And I do certainly have the right to express my views and have my own spiritual views, whatever. That is in no way. Sometimes, when people have certain views, people feel alienated because they don't relate to it, or I understand because when I was younger and I studied with Jehovah's Witnesses, you are 100% convinced that you are on this right path, or you can't imagine any other way than what and so when you come into contact with somebody who might think something different, I can understand it does cause this sort of level of discomfort. But this is where maturity comes in, and really this is where, if you claim to be someone who follows Jesus, this is where the whole Jesus thing comes in, because Jesus' view on this issue was very lax. It was more like, he believed he was a representation of what his father was, okay, based on what the Bible says. And, this is the word of his father, and he would preach it, and you either accepted it or you didn't, and you moved on. This is to set the example of what a Christian is supposed to be. It's your responsibility to prove by living a good life and setting an example to where other people are going to look at you and say, oh, this is a good life. This is a wholesome life. This is something that I am impressed with. I choose to live a life that's similar. This is the idea behind, really, if you're trying to convert someone, okay? Not by force or by pushing or pulling their arm. The thing is that I am not in any way promoting any sort of religion in any way, ever. I don't believe in doing that. I think that people are from different backgrounds, and I fully respect that. when it comes to religion, or any kind of religion for that matter, you know, I can't tell you how to live your life, but if you interfere with the lives of others by, you know, threatening them or blacklisting them or bullying them or using intimidation tactics to convert other people, this is the wrong thing. Now, when it comes to spirituality, I do take it very seriously, and I think this is one of the reasons why I am very sharp and keen on the abilities that I do have, because I try everything I can to keep my spirituality pure. Like, there are certain things that I think violate your spirituality. Like when you go against something that is against your principles, then somehow or another you become out of alignment with your true spiritual destiny. I think when people compromise to the point of where they no longer recognize their life, this is where it becomes unbearable. And I think that spirituality should be a thing to rejoice and embrace completely. It should make you feel lively, you know, truly. But some people find their true feelings and their true meaning and purpose in these religious groups. And for those people, I think that that's where you need to belong, and that's good for you. But do not silence and bully people because you don't agree with what they rightfully have the right to agree. I mean, what they rightfully have, which is a choice to make their own decisions. And this is the way it is, you know. Because when you think about it, let's just say, for example, this is the whole purpose of Christianity. The whole purpose of Christianity is about preserving your soul. Your soul, okay? So when people put pressure on you to convert to a particular religion, that's exactly what this whole meaning of the Bible is supposed to be written about. Like, are you going to deal with this sort of persecution? I'll tell you what, if somebody's doing that to you, they might need to recheck their Bible and their biblical principles, because they're not working and operating within the same way and guidelines as someone that they claim to be following, if that makes sense. But anyway. I want to speak more in the future. I want to express myself, not just my personal views or whatever, but I want to talk about just anything and everything, you know. Speak well, meaning like, you know, formally, you know, and I've been wanting to do this for a very, very long time. I have always seen myself as somebody who speaks in front of people. I don't know why, but I do. I do see this. And it's unusual because most of the time people see me as quiet, right? But there was a time where I felt very happy and free to express myself openly, okay? But then, of course, I dealt with something that, to me, shocked the hell out of me, and it has put me back in a box to where I don't know what to think anymore, you know what I mean? But I've always wanted to. I've even tried going to, like, Toastmasters many years ago. I think I went to a few meetings. Yeah, I went to a few. For a few weeks, they had them at the base, the Air Force base, where I was working. And I remember going there and thinking, you know, I would like to give this a try. I think my biggest flaws when it comes to speaking is, you know, I can write great content, but the problem with it is I'm uncomfortable at times with expressing it, and I have to understand how to get over those things. And there obviously are techniques out there, and I keep hearing all these people who professionally speak talking about how they how they learn these techniques. Like, they have a hard time communicating with other people in their lives in large groups, you know what I mean? I think my biggest issue now is the fact that I feel like I'm overly scrutinized. I'm overly scrutinized by people that did me a lot of harm, you know what I mean? And, you know, I know that there's differences within this group that I'm associated with. people who are on the top of the pyramid, might I say. Anyway, this is how it is, and I do have a life to live, and I have the right to my own personal fulfillment, whatever that might be, and by closing me off from the rest of the world is not only is it extremely abusive, it's extremely shocking, but most of all, it's unwarranted. You know, back to the public speaking thing. Public speaking in just different forms, and I felt as though YouTube was a good way of getting into practice of that. And it's like these people like literally cut a lot of things out. It's a very powerful structure that has the ability to do these sort of things. I'm not a threat to anyone, and I'm not somebody who's going to encourage people to leave churches or anything like that, okay? But I do think that people really do need to think about what it is they truly believe. I do think that, because there is a difference between having this form of spirituality, and there's also a difference between having an affiliation that does give you certain privileges. Because if that's the truth, then you need to understand that that's one of the things that the Bible warns about, if you are truly a Christian. Okay? I'm just telling you the foundation of your religion. So, I think when you feel as though you have been limited beyond your control, that it's a very shocking situation, and you want to, it prevents you, it really does shake you to where you're not going to be able to express yourself the way that you used to. So it's like learning that all over again as well. I've become like a little uncomfortable around people these days, and but I do think that it's important for me to sharpen my speaking skills, and by one way of doing that, I think would be to like engage in like a class. And I'm somebody who is a strong promoter of self-learning, but there are certain things that you do need that is going to have to involve other people. In cases like learning how to speak well, I do think it's important to do this in a group, and the reason why is because a group can provide feedback. It can provide the feedback that you truly need. It can give you the ability to open yourself up for people to critique your skills and say, hey, you know what? That was good, but I think you could have done this better. Or if you're nervous about this, then maybe you could speak this way. Or maybe you could do this, or maybe, there might be a mental state that you need to be in order to do this. Because it is a difficult thing to do, especially when you're dealing with an environment that you're not really comfortable with, you know what I mean? It does make you a little bit afraid of dealing with people, okay? Because dealing with all the irrational behavior that took place, that I find shook my world up a little bit, mainly because it feels surreal to me to open my eyes and see what people really think of what they really are. And also because my world is normal in my mind, because I've always known certain laws that I thought, I know it's silly, okay? Silly me, okay? But I really did think that most people knew what the law was. And I thought that people did their best to their ability to respect that law. At least the majority of people did. I didn't realize that the majority of people did not. Or understand human rights and understand things about like human trafficking. I really thought that people had more knowledge about these things, okay? But it's a surprising world. So it starts to shake your world up a little bit, because you're like, dang, I'm subjected to a form of corruption. And that's like, oh my gosh, and you get really sick, and you get really tense, and you get really nervous, and it just disturbs the hell out of you, okay? But the public speaking thing, okay? The speaking in general, okay? My views are meant for me. It is my life journey. My experiences, whether they be my experiences or maybe talking about somebody else's experiences. There's certain things I want to talk about, that relate to history, historical figures that I have been particularly impressed with. You know what I mean? Or certain occurrences, whatever. You know, there's just, I like to talk. I like to express it, and I love teaching people things, okay? So with those things, I think that this is something that is a part of my life, my destiny of some way, you know? Why else would it be in me for all these years, right? It's there. So I feel as though what you guys do, and I'm talking directly to my perps, whoever they may be, and I do think I kind of know who they are. You know, there is such a being as, you know, extreme authority to the point of where, you know, you've crossed over a line. And, you know, I have the right to happiness, whatever that might be. I mean, and there's very little happiness with these people. I mean, you guys really took a lot of my happiness. Like, really. And it's like, why? You know, I don't want to go into the whys, okay? Because to me, it will never make any sense, but whatever. But I don't want to veer off into those situations. And I also want to say that it's important to know that I am not somebody who wants to, I do, because I do feel this extreme need to talk about my feelings because, and I know some people will think, well, it's not that big of a deal. To them, it's not a big deal. But for someone like me, that's like the shock of a lifetime. It is extremely shocking to me, extremely shocking. So, you know, that people had such an issue with me, that they wanted to destroy who I was. That's a very strong message, you know, and it's considered a hate crime. So it's like it kind of shakes your world a little bit, and then you wonder, you know, where am I? What kind of world is this, you know? And you know, sorry, I don't mean to come off that way, but it does cause me that pain because it feels like somebody threatened my life, you know? Because in reality, they kind of did a little bit. I don't want to make people feel that, first of all, I don't think that people should feel, okay? I don't think they should feel this sort of need or this sort of, or this desire to make somebody or force somebody to see things their way when it's impossible for them to do so. It's irrational. Let's just say, for example, like, you know, somebody was begging you to become a Christian, okay, or any other religion, just whatever, picture whatever you want. They're begging you to do this, okay, but mind you, there is a higher power somewhere, okay? There is a higher power, and you decide to go and convert to this religion because you want to gain material things, which is exactly what the Bible says not to do, okay? But anyway, you do this, right? And then you die. You know, what happens to your soul because you did not really focus on why you were supposed to be making a serious dedication to this higher being? You know what I mean? To me, I've always taken spirituality extremely serious. This is one of the reasons why I am the way that I am today. And some people might get angry about it, but this is who I am. Like when I was a kid, I did consider being a nun when I was a kid. And no, I don't want people to think that I'm someone who is cold because I'm so spiritual that I don't have a form of sexuality or anything like that. I honestly do have this, I find sex like kind of gross. I think maybe because it does have some sort of issue relating to this incestuous thing that goes on in my weird family. To me, I kind of associate sex with selfishness and abuse, and this is how I associate it in my mind. Okay, but I don't. Yeah, at the same time, I don't sit here and look down on people who have sex or anything like that. I'm not a goody two shoes. I personally think that people have the right to live however they want to live. I mean, even people who live in a completely opposite way of me. You know, I figure if you're not hurting me, I don't have a problem with it. You're not abusing me in some way. Go, hey, go have at it. Whatever you want to do, as long as you're not hurting other people. I don't harm anybody. Okay. But I think I don't take religion lightly to where I feel like I'm going to convert because I'm trying to make someone happy. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be offensive in any way. It's just, I don't believe in that way of life. You know, I don't believe in it, for me, anyway. Some people do, they embrace it, maybe that's all they know. You know what I mean? I was given the opportunity as a child to choose my religion early in life. My mom said, by the time you're 17, you can choose whatever religion you want to. And I thought, you know, that I was going to be a Jehovah's Witness. But I decided that many years later, no, I don't want to. And I didn't have anything to do with Jehovah's Witnesses anymore. And so I went to a few churches, and I'm comfortable. I'm totally comfortable with my spiritual views. And that's hard for some people because they like doing things in a group. They're like, maybe they don't feel any sort of spirituality or any connection to God unless they are in a group, you know. But see, in my experience, not just going to Christian churches, but just other religious things or spiritual things or even celebrations that are supposed to acknowledge things that relate to, you know, celebrations or season changes or whatever you want to call it. Every time that I've been in a group, I have felt a sense of disappointment because there's a lot of people who may not be as focused as I am or whatever. There's been times where I've been to these places where people seem kind of hypocritical, or they seem to be focused more on money. Pass that collection plate, you know, and then they sit there and put a guilt trip on you if you're not, paying this. You know, I'm not saying all churches are like that, but, you know, I have my reasons why I don't want anything to do with that sort of stuff. But I have my own views, and my views do empower me, and they may not empower other people. I think sometimes people have their own messages that they're supposed to do, because everybody has a divine plan. Everybody does. They may not realize it, and mostly I think it's because they might be diverted because they're listening to what other people are doing, and they are somehow not listening to their voice that's giving up that internal drive to seek out what they really need to be, what they need to be, you know. In my case, or like I think a lot about like other people who have their own spiritual views that I may not even really relate to, like, and I bring up Joseph Smith a lot, okay, because, you know, he was a Mormon man, and I'm not Mormon, and I can't say that I would be a Mormon, but, you know, people have visions. They do. And they might be on a completely wrong path or whatever, but it's their choice to follow that, whatever that might be. And maybe he did have a vision, and maybe he didn't. And if he did have a vision, maybe that was meant for him to have all on his own. Maybe not, it wasn't supposed to be shared with everybody else. You know, maybe he wasn't supposed to make a religion out of it. Maybe he just had a special message, and then he got, you know, took it to the extreme or decided to have a church or whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's so many different views out there and thoughts of whatever. But you know what? Whether you agree with them or not, they still have the right to practice them. You know, I don't want to ever gear my discussions towards just one group of people, because I think that what I'm trying to say to people is not really connected to things that are religious. It's spiritual, yes it is, but it's more a form of spirituality to where it's good for the body, the mind, the spirit. And when I say the spirit, I'm not talking about your ethereal body, I'm talking about your overall well-being. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I just kind of wanted to say something, talk a little bit, express myself. You know, I know that's not something that a lot of people like, but and they don't, obviously they don't respect that, but you got to understand I have the right to do that. And no, it's not my responsibility to carry the weight or the belief system of somebody else, regardless. You know what I mean? That's a very difficult thing to do, for somebody to swallow what they believe in and say and accept something that they don't. You know what I mean? That to me is lower than, you're not even a human being. You know, that's not even being like taking advantage of the idea of living in this country. And I think, you know, that's something we should appreciate. You know, that I have the right to. I have every right to worship a rock on the ground. God knows I wouldn't, but you know, um, it comes down to um, tolerance. And it comes down to me being able to respect people who know what they believe and people who are comfortable within their own belief system to where they can live out their life and not feel threatened by other people, you know? Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm getting off here because I'm talking, but I do need some, like, you know, I think I need some sort of instructions and help when it comes to shaping up my goals, you know. Like I said, self-learning is great. It is. It works in certain situations, but in situations where you need feedback, you need, you know, the guidance, you need people's opinions, you know, that's different. And in this case, I do, and I feel as though I do. So anyway, right on this video. See you later. Bye.